No, what am I saying?
What, this? It's nothing. Really, it's nothing, Ed. It's just, it's just Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve.
Have a good time. Make sure your seatbelts are fastened.
Okay, you little bastards. The time has come. The moment we've all been waiting for. It's the Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve Alabruski. Let's go.
Let's go. We get the bad boy going. Welcome to the podcast, The Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve Alabruski. And what up, you bastards? Welcome to the program.
Welcome to the show.
Welcome indeed. Back again after another week of upsetting people on the internet.
I don't know how you have any energy left, dude. You've been really upsetting people in this world.
It gets me a little mentally off, so I'm quite okay with it. So yeah, find the website, thevocalminority.net, and find all the social medias. Right now, YouTube and TikTok seem to be the ones doing the best for us, especially YouTube. I don't know why. All of a sudden, YouTube's liking us. So, and we're on Threads, Instagram, Reddit, Facebook, etc.
So see us there. You can also call our comment line. Leave a message, 844-48-VOCAL. And just call us up, dude.
Yeah, call us. Leave a freaking voicemail. I tested this theory this week, Brewski, about, we had a video on YouTube that got a few thousand views, and it was the Trump finally telling the truth video where he said that he doesn't give a shit about Republicans, which is true. So many upset Trumpers going back and forth, but then I started telling them all, like, so are you a keyboard warrior or do you have a voice? Like, call this number and leave a comment.
And
not only did none of them call.
Crickets, of course. As soon as you call them out and you give them the opportunity to actually step up and do something, they back off.
Exactly. Calling us typical liberals. Like, we gave them a platform on the show. Like, that's not enough. So sure, I'd invite them on and nothing. Typical blowhard conservative. All show, no dough, So.
Yeah. In the reptile world, they call that puffing the dewlap. Because that's what the iguanas do to ward off attackers. They puff up that little skin underneath their neck to look ferocious, and then they hope that you're going to run away.
That is true. You see how smart we are in the show. It goes from politics to National Geographic. We'll talk
reptiles.
Porn, dating, reptiles. I mean, exactly.
Oh. So. And welcome to our reptile listeners, dude. There's got to be a few of you out there currently viewing your lizard in the atrium. Is your heat lamp hot enough? Yes. You got to keep it warm in there. Come on.
Yeah. Speaking of National Geographic, I told someone the other day that Jack Hanna was the guitar player for Tesla. Who's the guitar player for Tesla?
That's a really good question. I don't know.
Oh, it's Frank Hanna. And I had this brain fart, and I'm sitting here having this whole conversation about Jack Hanna, and I'm realizing, I think that's the animal guy.
The wildlife guy. It is. He's the wildlife guy, yeah.
Right. Safari pants and all, dude. He's up on stage. He really sticks out.
Wasn't he the guy that was on one of my personal favorite Seinfeld episodes of all time when Kramer had the Merv Griffin set in his apartment?
I think so, because that's where everyone knows Jack Hanna from, is the Tonight Show or the Merv Griffin Show. Or
exactly. Yeah.
The person I was talking to said, I think Jack Hanna is the guy that created the Flintstones. And I was like, no. That's Hanna-Barbera.
Yeah, exactly.
so many Hannas out there is the problem. So.
Hannah Montana.
We should get someone on the show with some animals, or at least something fuzzy to show us.
Well, if you want, I can stand up and pull my pants down. I mean,
No, thank you. Something of the female persuasion. Not that we're not equal opportunity, but...
When's the last time you trimmed that bush, dude? Are you real bushy, Brewski?
No, I've been staying on top of it. I'm not a very hairy person anyway, but that's not something you actually tend to very often.
If I was a betting man, dude, I feel like I'm really connected with both of you guys,
Okay.
I'm trying to think, I've been getting this vibe as of late, just for the last 24, 48 hours. Steve has either trimmed his bush in the last day or will in the next day is my prediction. Just because, I feel, so close to you and, mentally.
You're operating on insider's information. That's not fair. Insider trading going on here.
A little Gordon Gekko there for you.
Yeah, well, when the dating life is sitting on the shelf, there's no need to be trimming anything.
No, not at all.
Things get active, then you got to be prepared.
That's right.
Although I will tell you, sitting as I do for 8 to 10 hours, sometimes 11 hours at a time, sometimes when you're in the car and you're driving, sometimes you sit the wrong way and something starts getting pulled and, you You got to go in for a re-rack as quick as you can without people seeing that you're doing it.
I was talking to a mutual friend last night, Dan Stewart. He bought a motorcycle. His father passed away. He got a little bit of money, and he set it aside for a few different things. He bought a street bike, wanted one for a long time. Used to ride one, then started having kids, got rid of it. Now they're all in college, so you got a bike, right?
Sure.
Nice bike, dude. BMW, big bike.
Ooh.
He's going to Sturgis this year, and he's
On a BMW bike?
That's what I was just thinking the same. I was thinking the same thing. Yeah.
all right. Hold your reservations for just a minute, because my story also will probably make some of your ears stand up. So he wants me to go with him, okay, to Sturgis. And originally, a couple of months ago, he was like, you could fly in. My aunt lives like 2 hours away, and then we'll just go to Sturgis. I think it would be a blast. I don't necessarily want to go alone. I don't have anyone to ride there with. So it'd be cool if you could meet me over there, and then we'll go to Sturgis and do it up for the weekend or whatever. And I was like, well, something to think about, you know. So I'm talking to him last night. Granted, he was a little tatered. He was on some edibles and drunk. So the conversation was interesting. Yeah. He proposes to me last night that I just leave from Seattle with him and ride bitch on his bike to Sturgis, okay?
No.
No.
Thank you.
No, for every 100 possible reasons. No. The two of you pulling into Sturgis on a BMW, get your asses kicked immediately.
So the first thing Rachel was like, are you guys looking to get your ass kicked? And I was like, that's what I told him, dude. I was like, I don't trust anyone to be on the back of their motorcycle. I just don't. Maybe I'm a control freak, but I don't. But I'm not going to ride into Sturgis for even a mile on the back of your BMW. No, you know, I'm not going to do it.
If someone offered me a ride on their motorcycle around the neighborhood, bitch, I would say, no, I'm not grabbing you around the waist or holding your shoulders and riding me. I'm not doing any of that, let alone cross country from Seattle to, what is it, South Dakota, North Dakota?
Yes, they're just South Dakota.
No.
He was like, we'll ride 8 hours the first day. We'll stop and take a rest, and then we'll ride 8 hours the second day, and then we're a couple hours away. It'll be good. I was like, 16 hours in 2 days on the back of your motorcycle. I think I would rather blow my brains out.
Yes. And you guys get to shave your taints together so you both can survive the ride.
I'd rather do that. I'll come over and support him in shaving his taint. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. But I guarantee I will not be on the back to find out.
I've had my car whipped by a Harley rider.
You have, for almost hitting them, or what?
Because I was coming up next to them and I was going to pass them, and they don't like it when you pass them.
Wow.
And I was tempted.
Did he break the paint on your car?
No, he didn't.
All right. You were tempted to beat him up?
No, I was ready to run over him with my car, and I was going to say, oh, my foot slipped off the brake and went to the gas accidentally, and I panicked.
Wow, premeditated and all. Wow.
Right. Yeah. Vehicular manslaughter. It's fine.
No, I'm not like completely over, but just enough to knock him down, and you know.
I hear you. All right. Pretty good.
Sometimes, sometimes the road gets the best of me.
We interrupt this broadcast to bring you this.
We interrupt our program to bring you a special.
Here is a news bulletin.
We interrupt this program to bring you
the humanity and all the things. A date which will live in infamy. The only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
Need to know news.
I said, oh, Lord Jesus, it's a fire.
News you need to know.
I got bronchitis. Ain't nobody got time for that.
Steve Harness.
Yeah. All right, let's discuss the news of the week. Now, this entire segment of the show is set up to give you the need-to-know news, the news we feel you need to know anyways. So.
That's right.
Thank you. Now, when I'm perusing news articles throughout the week, there are some headlines that just jump out at me as, yep, we got to talk about that on the show. And this one, I didn't even read the article. I didn't even need to. Just the headline told me, like, yes, this is need-to-know news.
Let's have it, dude.
From the Huffington Post. This sex position reliably gets women off, and you may not have ever heard of it.
Yeah, have you read it, Harness?
Yeah.
Okay. Any guesses, Brewski?
Handing over an MX Black card?
Yeah.
I would have guessed doggy. But okay, let's have it.
I will tell you, it's a variation of a common position. position.
Whip it out on us, dude.
The coital alignment technique, also known as CAT, is a modified version of missionary-style sex where the man rides a little bit higher up, sliding his body up an inch or two so that the base of his penis rubs against the woman's clitoris. Picture just regular missionary sex, but pretend like you're trying to, get up closer to her chest or something. You're kind of moving yourself up her body a little bit more.
I can picture it. I can picture it.
And if we put this on social media, I'll add the nice little pictogram they have here. According to the research, it says, in one study of women who are unable to orgasm from missionary sex, published in the Journal of Sex and Marital Therapy, I'm a regular subscriber, those who learned about CAT reported a 56% increase in their orgasm frequency. And this is because most women need some sort of clitoral stimulation to get off. So this is penetration, and then essentially the top of your junk or your pelvis is rubbing up on her clitoris because you're getting up a little further on her.
Yeah, no, I can see it. It's so interesting. We've talked on this program before. I think I recently sent you a comedy bit that I was watching of this guy that he related. I wish we could just have like a Waze or a Google Maps made for sex with a woman that would tell us how to get to the destination quicker. Every woman is different, dude. But 56%, I mean, that's a pretty big up.
Yeah, you're totally right. Yes, every woman is different, and that's part of the fun and the not so fun of trying to figure out who does what. How do you get off? These last few women I've been with, I've just had to ask, what is it? Is it a position? Is it clitoral stimulation? Is it oral only? So many women, I've had women that can only get off by using your finger on them to massage the clitoris. I mean, it's 100 different things. It's so much more complicated than men.
Yeah.
But, this is interesting because I'm not a huge fan of missionary usually because it is kind of lame. But, yeah, all you got to do is jet yourself forward a few more inches and apparently you'll have 56% better chance.
Are you going to throw that into the playbook?
I think I have to now. I got to give it a try. I mean, yeah. Use the to please the kitty. It's a good assimilation there.
It's funny, dude. I'll tell you this very vulnerably, okay? I was watching this video. This was maybe a couple of years ago. And it was this woman sex therapist. And she was talking about how to go down on a girl and to do it the best you've ever done it. And this is sure to get her off quickly, blah, blah, blah. Okay.
Yeah.
And she really sounded reputable. So I took some of this technique that she was teaching in this video and I used it and I was not getting the response I was hoping for.
Yeah.
And, I had to ask. I was like, is this not doing it for you? And she was like, it's a little weird. And I was like, first of all, I hope that if I'm doing something weird and then that you don't like, you'll just tell me. You know what I mean? I just want to be told.
What was the technique that you tried? Can you describe it or no?
The timing was a thicker, stiff tongue and then a softer ice cream licking tongue. Okay, and it was
going back and forth?
Going back and forth, yeah.
Oh, interesting.
And I was all excited to try it because she even had other girls on there that was like, yeah, this technique is amazing and blah, blah, blah. And yeah, I was excited, but no, it didn't work at my house unless I just didn't do it right. I mean, who knows?
The stiff tongue thing, I don't know if I've ever tried that. That feels like you're a woodpecker or something, going at it.
Do you mean you've never tried the stiff tongue for insertion or just playing around with the clit?
Even if I'm going for tongue insertion, I don't know that I make it completely erect or whatever. There's still some curviness going on there. So
yes,
well, yeah, that's interesting. But no, you're totally right. It's there's no one size fits all, unfortunately. But one more technique to try for all of the guys out there.
Yeah, well,
or lesbians with a strap on. Either way.
Yes, dude.
That is need to know news.
That is definitely need to know news.
This is need to know news. News you need to know.
Hello, Americans. This is Paul Harvey. Stand by for news.
Standing by. Hey, dude, I was talking to Brewski. I was talking to Steve earlier in the week, and I was like, are we looking at this, the mic drops of this Joe Biden impeachment hearing that happened last week?
Sure.
I didn't see a lot of people talking about it, but I saw a couple of moments that I was like, I know why people aren't talking about this, because they feel like it's been overdone, right? They've been talking about the same shit for a long time.
No, I think people aren't talking about it because even the quote unquote liberal media, they know that it makes Joe Biden look good, and to them that's boring. You know what I mean? They want sizzle. They want salaciousness coming out of the White House and that sort of thing, because they want this to be a race with Trump in November. They want it to be close because it'll be good for ratings for them over the summer.
No, I get that, but I saw, and I'm going to play a couple of clips that I thought, I guess they end up making Biden look good, but this was more of making Republicans look bad and corrupt and terrible, and showing that maybe to some of not the MAGA crowd, they already know what they know, but like people like my brother, that like, this is the party that you're supporting right now, and maybe you shouldn't be. So
yeah, I was going to say, it's almost to the Republicans' advantage that it's not getting any press, because they all look so stupid with this. And I think even the good moments and the mic drop moments, they're just not getting covered because the media has probably correctly just ignored this entire fake impeachment thing. Because like Brewski said, there's no there. So why are we even covering it?
I just think you're giving them the benefit of the doubt, though, Steve. I think there are nefarious reasons behind it.
No, but then you're getting into media conspiracies that the liberal media is skewing their coverage.
Okay, but think about this, though. Why would NBC News hire Kristen Welker, who is almost as bad as Chuck Todd, to take over for Meet the Press? She never asks any hard questions whatsoever. Why would NBC News this week hire Ronna McDaniel to be a political commentator on their shows? They want the other side, quote unquote, on there because they want the ratings over the summer. They want this to be a big race between Biden and Trump. They don't care about what's going to happen to the country if Trump wins. They just want the ratings. That's why they bring these people in, you know?
No, I don't agree. I don't think there's a cabal going on in the world of media to try to skew anything. I think that they try to sensationalize some things. I mean, and you're making two different points there. Kristen Welker, I think she's an up-and-coming journalist, and they wanted a new fresh face, a woman, a minority, all that.
No, because they want her because she doesn't ask hard questions. That's why. She's a buddy of Chuck Todd's.
They could hire anyone to not ask hard questions, just like Chuck Todd was a white guy that didn't ask hard questions either. And, this Ronna McDaniel hire is preposterous. And Chuck Todd, I don't know if you saw it, but he went on Meet the Press and ridiculed NBC News for doing this.
Because he doesn't really work there anymore, so he can get away with it. He's emeritus, you know what I mean? He never said word one when he was an active employee.
Chuck Todd started off as a complete puss, and then he even acknowledged that he needed to toughen up a bit. But I don't think any of that goes to the conspiracy that they just, want to hype ratings. I think they're being overly cautious about the Trump stuff, which is kind of leveling the field. I've said this before, that they should be going harder in the fact that this guy is a accused criminal and sex offender and all of these kinds of things. But I tend to reject the overall assertion, though, that the media has got any sort of conspiracy going, because I think it just weakens everything else. Then if they're doing that, then why should I believe anything the media says? Now I'm some, Trumper that doesn't want to believe NBC News.
Well, but they're going so easy on him, though. And they're going so hard on Biden. So what's the explanation there?
Why I don't think they're going hard on Biden.
Watch Katie Tur and Andrea Mitchell. Every day when you watch their shows, all they do is talk about how bad Biden is and how he's doing awful in the polls. Give it a watch sometime.
Well, you guys have two different views, and now you answer my question. Why aren't they covering this a whole bunch? Did you watch any of the clips from it? Did you watch any of the session?
For what?
From this impeachment hearing?
No. I'm tuning in today on this show to hear it.
Well, good. They had a guy on there. Have you ever heard of a guy named Les Parnas?
Lev Parnas, L-E-V.
Lev Parnas, excuse me. Yeah. Have you heard of him?
I know him only because I hate how close his last name is to mine.
I know, right? I thought the same thing. In fact, you know what? When I was labeling the clip, I just automatically wrote Harness instead of Parnas. Right. He's a Ukrainian-American businessman. Worked closely with former Trump attorney Giuliani in 2018 and 2019. 19 to try and find damaging information about the president. He appeared as a witness. He gave a whole opening statement on it. And then there were a couple of reps who asked him a few questions. This first one, I'm going to start out with Jamie Raskin. He was able to question him, talk to him a little bit, and this is what he had to say.
At what point did Mr. Giuliani begin working directly with Russian agents and Russian assets, individuals who would later become sanctioned by Donald Trump's own Treasury Department for spreading propaganda and disinformation against Joe Biden?
It was sometime in probably around May, June of 2019.
Were you aware, was Mr. Giuliani aware that these people were basically just doing the bidding of Vladimir Putin?
Absolutely.
So he had no hesitation about spreading lies that were concocted by Russian agents?
As long as it fit the narrative, absolutely not.
How were you and Giuliani able to take these false allegations peddled by corrupt officials and Russian agents and promote and amplify them here in the United States, in our political system? Weren't media groups skeptical of your claims?
Most media groups, I'd probably say all except for Fox and a few other right-wing media groups, didn't want to take any of the information, and that aggravated Rudy Giuliani and John Solomon and other players. The main group that was being pushed through was Fox, Sean Hannity, and some other media personnel over there. But then there was also other people that were doing the bidding for the Russian people in Congress, like Senator Ron Johnson, like Congressman Pete Sessions that sits here right now, that was with me from the very beginning on this journey into finding up digging dirt on Joe Biden.
It's funny. I mean, he called out people right there in the room. And of course, he's saying what we as Democrats have known for a long time. Yes, Fox News, Sean Hannity. That's one media outlet that I don't think gives a shit about the country, just is doing everything for ratings and playing with Russia, for crying out loud.
Yeah, no, this actually reiterates a point we've brought up many times in the show. And yeah, Brewski a couple episodes ago was saying that, you know, people like a Chuck Todd or whoever on NBC, when they make a mistake, Rachel Maddow, they come on air and they retract it or amend it.
They correct it, yeah. They'll issue a correction.
Right, whereas Fox News will never do that kind of stuff because they're not actually journalists. So I love that he just said, like, no, all of the major outlets wouldn't take my Russian propaganda, but Fox News ran right with it.
Yeah.
They're not a news organization.
They are not. They should have a thing that this is for entertainment purposes only. You know, like, that's what it is. You just want to get all the old white men riled up around the country and their wives.
Yeah,
So,
I wish Fox News would run something this, or that your brother would see this kind of stuff. Like, do you not understand that you're watching propaganda, literal propaganda from Russians that they just ran with? Whereas NBC, CBS, ABC, PBS, CNN all said, no, we need some, we need some corroboration before we're going to report that.
Still some integrity in journalism, right? I mean, we're not going to run that. We got to see something else. Eric Swalwell of California, he's a Democrat. You've seen him before. He had a great moment. I mean, it's informative, but also funny. Here he is.
I want to give you the top 10 reasons why impeachment is dead. Number 10, your key witness today is testifying from the slammer. Number 9, key evidence of a bribe that you all relied on. The guy who said that has been indicted for lying about that bribe, and he's a Russian asset. Number 8, another key witness has been indicted as a Chinese agent. Number 7, during the Hunter Biden interview, Mr. Chairman, you didn't even stay for the whole time. Number 6, Chairman Jason Smith didn't show up at all to the Hunter Biden interview. The same day, number 5, Darrell Issa said it's a big nothing. Number 4, today Jim Jordan began his remarks not by relying on any evidence for this investigation, but he went off attacking the DOJ about what they're doing with the Catholics. Number 3, you all still have not sent the articles of impeachment for the Mayorkas impeachment to the Senate, and that happened last month. Number 2, you're now talking about a criminal referral, but if you had evidence for a criminal referral, then you have evidence to impeach somebody for high crimes and misdemeanors. And number 1, and I'm sorry to say this, Fox News isn't even carrying this today. In fact, one of their anchors, as they broke away 10 minutes in, said, this is the same hearing over and over and over. At what point are you going to fish or cut bait? So I just have to tell you, it's over. Dunzo. Bye-bye. Rigor mortis. Lights out. Curtain drop. Mic drop. Peace. Adios. Sayonara. Au revoir. Or a language that you all understand. Doi Sivdanya. Did I say that right, Mr. Parnas?
Yes.
Guys, I'm here to pronounce the time of death.
He announces time of death and fills out a form and everything. It's very dramatic. But I mean, I thought that was the greatest thing. He was like a language you all understand.
That's hilarious. It could have only been better if he brought Paul Schaefer out to play keyboards behind his top 10. It just highlights, though, the catch-22 of why most news organizations are covering this, because there really is nothing there. It's just a waste of freaking time. But it should be getting more attention in that fact that it's just a waste of time, and they're just, trying to pull the wool over your stupid sheep conservative eyes.
Exactly.
Need to know news.
I said, oh, Lord Jesus, it's a fire.
News you need to know.
I got bronchitis. Ain't nobody got time for that.
It's time for another brewski. This one is a crazy brewski.
I'm going to start off a little bit on a serious note. I'd like to remind everybody that it is 225 days until Election Day.
224.
Okay. So we need to make sure that we are engaged and we are doing the work that we need to do to make sure that Trump doesn't get reelected.
To vote for no matter who, yes.
And the other thing, too, is have you seen that there have been more resignations from Congress, from the GOP?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, people are getting out before the ship sinks, or what's your theory?
I think that they realize I'm here, I'm away from my family, we're not doing any work. Yeah, I'm making my salary and that sort of thing, but what am I here for?
Yeah. Do you think it has anything to do with just analyzing? Am I the one that's on the wrong side of history here?
So I was just going to say, are they realizing they're on the wrong side of history finally?
But they won't say that out loud. That's obviously the thing. And I think also, I think they're waiting this whole thing out with Trump, where they think that, and rightfully so, if he loses the presidential election, and they lose the House, and the Democrats keep the Senate and expand their majority there, that's even more losses. I think at that point there, I think the GOP is going to say, we'll see you later. That's when the established Republicans will come in, your Cheneys and that sort of thing, and retake over the party.
Take their party back, yeah.
I hope that is what happens. And I've never thought I would say something like that. But yes, I hope the normal Republicans take over again.
Yeah.
So now that I've done that, I need to do my usual fun kind of story here. And this comes from the Lost and Found Department.
Okay.
I think we've all lost something, be it at a bar, a bowling alley, or something like that. We've all lost something, of course.
I steal out of Lost and Found places all the time, just as an aside.
What do you mean? What are you rifling through?
I find things that I haven't lost in the Lost and Found.
Stop! Like, where are you going to a Lost and Found?
My most recent, we went to a rock climbing gym, and they had a Lost and Found there. I took a couple items out of there that I lost.
That's hilarious.
Wow. It's a good way to score some new gear, although it's probably sweaty and kind of gross, but you know what?
Sanitize it, dude.
Yeah.
You're a problem solver. They once were lost and now they're found. So.
That's right. Go ahead, Bruce. I didn't mean to do that.
Well, that's awesome. So here it is. Human leg found on subway track bed in New York City.
Wow. Like a old one, or it's newer?
It says here, a troubling discovery this weekend in the Bronx has detectives trying to piece together how a body part ended up on a subway track bed.
Yeah.
The NYPD said a human leg was found around 1 p.m. Saturday in the Concourse neighborhood. The disembodied leg was between 167th and 170th Streets on the number 4 subway line.
Oh, I know someone that lost one at 148th, so it must be a different leg.
It says no other details about the grisly find were immediately disclosed, so it's unclear how the leg ended up along the subway line or what happened to the person the leg belonged to.
I was gonna say, is there not a trail of blood somewhere? I mean, or is this a cadaver that somebody threw on the track? I mean, how is that not a little obvious that someone checked into the local ER missing a leg?
That's my thing exactly. Is how could there's no way somebody doesn't go to the hospital for something like that. That's not something you go to your buddy's house and say, "Can you break up the first aid kit?" I think I have a problem.
Yeah, right. There's got to be a detective to solve this. That's just trying to get the leg up and wants to make something out of his career.
The city's medical examiner took possession of the leg to determine more about the leg's origins. So they closed down that whole line because they had to do the investigation.
Wow. Yeah.
They're interviewing pirates to see who's missing.
Okay, if I'm a detective, my first step with my good leg is going to be I'm going to go check hospitals because you're right, Brewski. I mean, you don't fix that at home. So let's talk to hospitals and find out who are the newest amputees. And now I've got my list. I can go investigate a little bit.
Right.
I mean, I suppose
it's like the fugitive, right? Looking for the one-armed man.
Yeah.
I would assume there's a homeless guy that crawled 10 feet away from where that leg was found and bled to death. I mean,
probably so.
You can't walk away from. I mean, you literally cannot walk away from that kind of injury.
Especially with the femoral artery in particular, you're definitely going to bleed to death. There was a story a few years ago at Six Flags of Atlanta where a person was decapitated.
Mm-hmm. I remember that.
And what happened was he hopped the fence because his hat flew off while he was on the roller coaster.
Yeah.
And it was one of those roller coasters where your legs dangle. The roller coaster came by and someone's leg hit him in the head. It completely severed his head off.
Holy shit.
It snapped that person's leg immediately. So now they've got a broken leg hanging there. There's some dude's head that's elsewhere.
Some injuries are so heinous. You can't even imagine, dude. You think that hurt? Or you think he didn't know? I've been analyzing this statement as of late where people are like, he went quick. Or, didn't feel it. I mean, when he imploded, he didn't feel it. How do you know?
Right.
How do you know, dude?
Yeah. No, that always is funny, actually. You're right.
The iron workers that I know here in Boston, local number 7, by the way, they always say to me, it's not the fall that kills you, it's a sudden stop.
Right. Yes,
geez. You're gonna wear this head of this drum out.
Yeah. Well, but so we've got a lost and found leg here, and so if someone's missing a leg out there and you hear this, go to the New York City Medical Examiner's office. I think they have your leg.
This is Need to Know News. News you need to know. Start the news chant, please.
Come on.
News, 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 news.
Listen, I got a gun article here that I'm wondering if every time we've done guns on the show, the NRA nuts out there just freak out on us. So I can't wait to post this one. But this is one of these, it seems to be a very practical, common sense way to solve a lot of gun deaths. But I'm sure the conservatives will find a reason why this is completely unacceptable. And I've actually been talking about this for years. America's first biometric smart gun is finally here. It's ready for mass sales. The company behind America's first biometric smart gun, one that fires only when gripped by an authorized user, will face a crucial test in coming weeks. After decades of failed attempts by other manufacturers to bring a reliable smart gun to the market, BioFire is shipping its first batch of 9mm handguns equipped with both fingerprint and facial recognition technology by the end of this month. The company's smart gun is designed to serve as a very specific purpose, a weapon that can be quickly accessed to defend against a home intruder, something gun nuts are always saying is going to happen to you, but that cannot be used by anyone else. So your kids can't use it. If that robber knocks it out of your hand, he can't pick it up and use it. I mean, this has been in sci-fi movies for years, and it seems to make total freaking sense.
What's the downside, dude? I don't see a downside to it.
I don't see an obvious one. I've heard gun nuts before say that somehow this limits your access to that thing. Like, well, what if my wife wants to pick it up and shoot the bird? Well, then sign her up for the fingerprint. Like, they've pushed back on this. So when we post this, we'll hear from them. So I can't wait to hear. But yeah, how is this not the perfect solution?
Yeah, I don't know what kind of number we're solving here. Like, is this the biggest issue? Is people using your gun to kill people with?
Certainly a big issue, yes.
Okay.
Your kids getting their hands on it, or someone breaks in your home when you're not there, they steal your gun. I mean, yeah, that's a pretty big issue. Now, obviously, if you're mentally deranged and you buy this gun and it's coded to you, you can still go shoot people. But yeah, guns being stolen or falling into the wrong hands, or the burglar takes it from you. Yeah, these are definitely problems.
Okay. Yeah, hopefully people in our comment section will tell us what the downside is, because I wouldn't see one. I'm not a gun nut. But
I think I could probably see the first thing they would say is cost, because with any new technology like this, the actual dollars cost could be the first thing they would cite. Like when VCRs first came out, they were super expensive and that sort of thing. But then as it became more commonplace, then the price came down. I'm assuming that's the first thing they'll say is, that's going to cost way too much money for the average person. I'm sure they'll go there.
They probably will. However, do you guys know what an AR-15 costs? Because all the gun nuts want to have AR-15s.
Maybe I could buy one for $700.
Yeah, they're north of that. They're usually about $1,500, give or take.
Okay,
and that's
15
exactly
to
what
1,800.
Yeah, this 9mm handgun is going to retail for $14.99. So $1,500 for the smart gun. Yeah. So I wouldn't accept that from a lot of gun owners because they spend a lot of money on guns and none of them own one gun. So at $1,500, that's not cheap. Average 9mm is probably $800, so it's probably double. But within the world of guns, $1,500 is not outrageous.
I mean, come on. This is obviously a technology that is, it'll start out slowly making a difference, but this technology is going to take a while to get into the future where we see results from it. And you've still got your guns that you own now. So what are you whining about? You don't have to buy one. It would just probably be great. They're not saying like, we'll never sell a handgun again without this technology. It's just available, dude. Come on.
Well, their conspiracy fear will outlaw all the other kinds of guns, and these will be the only kind. But that's boogeyman bullshit, because that kind of stuff, there's never going to be enough votes for all that. I mean, that's 50, 100 years from now. So
yeah.
And I never accept the premise that, well, this one thing won't change things immediately. So no, it's technology. It'll wean in over time. And the more
you got to start.
But yeah, if you want to claim to be a responsible gun owner who does not want someone else getting your gun, your children, whatever it is, then this should be the perfect solution. But you just watch the comment section. All of these fucktards will tell us why this isn't going to work. So can't wait to hear.
With gun technology, we've seen how people do things like bump stocks, and they always find these ways to hack things to make things work, right?
Yeah.
I'm quite sure somebody will come up with a way to make a dumb gun, quote unquote, into a smart gun. So coming back to your point about they'll outlaw all guns. Well, someone's going to be out there, some technology person that's going to want to make some money on this and be able to offer this. And we've seen it with the ghost guns, the 3D printing guns, the bump stocks. There's always ways that people are trying to modify their guns.
And Liz, I'm sure there's a way to hack these guns too, to get into them, but that would take time and effort. Nothing that's going to happen spur of the moment. Nothing your kids are going to do. But it's kind of like, airbags. Airbags save lives. Are there still plenty of cars out there that don't have airbags? Yeah. But as time goes on, those get older and older. And so, in the gun collectible world, if they made a law saying now all new guns have to have this technology, you're going to have every gun from that day backwards still in circulation. They're not this whole we're confiscating guns thing will never happen. Maybe there'll be a buyback program, though. They'll give you $1,500 for a 9mm and go buy one of these brand new smart guns. But again, gun nuts will find a reason why this is somehow a violation of the Second Amendment.
If we ever get to a point where they're outlawing guns in this country, we've got much bigger problems. Things have been bad for a long time. If we get to that point, you've got bigger issues.
Yeah, the zombie apocalypse or something's going on, or the Civil War has happened for so many years now, thanks to Trump, that this seems like the ideal solution. So it's safe. I can still unlock it in a split second.
Whether you believe this or not, hardcore Republicans and MAGA alike, there are Democrats who own guns. I'm one of them. There's a lot of Democrats that own guns, dude. And I bet you they will be the audience for this to get it kicked off. I hear that and I'm like, that'd be awesome. One of my biggest concerns having a weapon to protect my home is I sleepwalk, so that's a bitch, dude. But B, that someone will take it from me, before I am able to protect myself or my wife, So I think it's awesome technology.
We need Apple to jump on board. The new iGun. Everyone will be lining up at the the iPhone store.
I don't know, man. iPhones have actually fallen out of favor in China for some, I don't know why reason. Probably
this is
something.
America.
CCP, you buy our phones, not the Apple ones,
Yeah.
I've had a theory about guns for a while, and I'll share quickly. Part of me doesn't want to make this mainstream because I don't want my secret to get out. But I think it's the perfect solution. If you want to be a gun owner, you don't want to kill yourself accidentally. You don't want your kids shooting themselves. You don't want the increased risk of suicide. It's all of those normal things. The robber takes the gun from you and shoots you and your family. All of these things, right?
Okay.
It's a myth that you're going to get into a protracted gun battle in your own home. It's not a movie. Everyone's not going to put up barricades and be shooting back and forth. It's never going to happen that way, okay? You're not Scarface, okay?
Right.
So if I have a 9mm, what if I only load it with blanks? Someone breaks in my home. I got a gun. Pop, pop, pop. You know, you hear the noise. Everyone starts running. But you're not at risk of killing the guy. You're not at risk of killing yourself. Because if a robber breaks in and knows you have a gun, and if you pop off a couple, they're running. Of course they're running.
I think your theory doesn't hold water completely. I think that it's probably 5 out of 10. You're probably, or maybe even I'll give you 8 out of 10. I watch crime all the time, even now with live cams, because cameras are everywhere. And there is a lot of times that not a gunfight necessarily that goes on for hours, but one that'll go on for a minute and people are firing back at each other.
So a home invasion, like someone breaks in the home and the homeowner's got a gun and the burglar's got a gun and they hunker down and start popping shots off at each other.
Not necessarily hunker down, but we'll come around the wall of a hallway and fire down, and then they'll fire back and, throw shots back and forth. There was just a guy in California, it was all over the news, that 3 people came to break into his home. They followed him home, and he was walking up to his front door. Here come these 3 masked guys. Well, he was carrying, and he pulled back and shot at him, and they got behind the car and fired back. They had a gunfight, and then they bailed.
I think it's the bailing part that I'm talking about. Because, and by the way, if you pop off a couple of blanks, no one's going to realize, wait, it didn't leave a gun hole behind me. There's no bullet hole. It didn't. The shrapnel didn't go everywhere. You feel you're in a gunfight because you see the muzzle fire, you hear the shots, and I would think it's 9.5 times out of 10 that most burglars don't want some sort of conflict like that. When they realize you're home, you have a gun, you fired off shots, they want to get the hell out of there.
But if they think you fired at them, if they think you actually fired at them, if they have a gun, they're going to fire back.
Well, but they would have fired at you if you were unarmed or if you had a real gun. Now you're in a real gun battle where not only could you kill someone, but they can kill you. I'm just saying, it's most times psychology is why people have the gun. It's an intimidation factor. So if you're shooting blanks, you take away the possibility of killing yourself or someone else, but you still intimidate them.
I don't know if it's most times. I don't know that I agree with you. I understand your theory. It's like people always say, have a shotgun and hand crank that bad boy and let people hear it. They'll probably run, and they probably will.
Right.
But
that's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying.
Further. I've seen so many burglars when they get confronted just jet immediately. There was a great one I saw the other day. 2 guys walked into a gas station with guns, and some dude standing there clocked one of the guys with a gun. And what did the other guy do? He took off running because they don't want conflict. They want to intimidate you with that gun. As soon as it's real, they're out of there.
Dude, if you were robbing a home and heard somebody fire at you and you had a gun on you, you wouldn't fire back and try and kill them?
I might fire as I'm running away, but no, I'm not breaking into a home to get into a protracted gun battle and start murdering people.
You're not a criminal, dude.
I wanted your DVD player or something. As soon as it gets difficult, I'm out of there.
Yeah, if I want your DVD player, I'm coming when you're not home. If I'm in your house in the middle of the night, I'm probably going to kill you if you fire at me, whether they're blanks or not. I would imagine.
It's interesting. Brewski, any thoughts on this?
I see what you're saying as far as the scare factor with folks coming into the house. I do think that more times than not, when there are burglars, they are not armed. They are just going there to steal things and leave. I think if someone's coming into your house armed, they're not there to burglarize it. The burglar is there as a smoke show. They're there because they want to do damage or harm to the person that's in the house. And at that point there, I think that even if you do have a gun with live or fake bullets, they're still going to shoot because that was their intent in the first place.
Yeah. You know what? I think you're firing off blanks. It would, if those are the people that are going to run, it would be just as effective to holler and say, I've got a gun, leave now or I'm going to come out and shoot you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, if you really want to be safe, keep the real clip in your back pocket and just fire off the blanks at first.
Yeah, there you go.
Then get into a Scarface battle in your house, grab the real bullets.
But it's always good to have backup. You know that. Always have a backup plan no matter what you're doing, whether it's that or going on a vacation or something like that. You always want to have a backup plan in case things go awry.
That's exactly right. That's great advice, Cousin Brewski.
Need to know news. News you need to know.
Hey, dude, have we heard enough about Trump and the bond? I mean, it just broke today. Should we talk about it quickly?
I mean, we can cry some liberal tears.
Then if we're going to talk about it, I play a little clip for you that I was watching, and I thought, oh, wow, this explains it pretty succinctly.
I'm being told right now that that bond, that $500 million bond that had been set and that the former president had to deal with today has now been reduced to $175 million. So that $465 million plus bond that he was looking at, this appeals court allowing the former president to post a smaller bond of $175 million within 10 days.
This is so infuriating, I don't even know what to do. This is a different process for this person. We have decided that he gets his own private court of justice. He has a private plane. He has private clubs that he lives in. He basically fashioned himself his own private militia to try to take over the Capitol. Now he's getting his own private system of justice. This is an absolute travesty. It would not happen for anybody else. Anybody else, it would be like, sorry, buddy, you lost. Pay up. For him, he gets his own set of rules.
I agree with that, dude. I mean, this is the first thing it made me think of. Like, what are we doing here, and who else would this happen for?
Yes, what that guy said. I'm going to go home now. Like, right? Exactly right.
Yep.
I have so much faith for the most part in our legal system, but I've seen it personally get skewed against people. We've seen what's happened to the Supreme Court being skewed conservative, and it's really diminishing faith. And I don't want to sound like a conservative conspiracy theorist, but what the fuck happened today? They knocked it in over half and gave him more time. I mean, who would get that much latitude?
I've had creditors in the past, dude, that I can't negotiate half of my $1,000 bill down to $500. Like, who gets this, dude? It's absolutely nuts.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this can be, if the appellate court decision can be appealed now, because I'm sure, Miss James in New York City is not at all happy about this, But yeah, I mean, okay, 175 is still a lot, but Trump has insinuated even today that he can just pay that himself. So
he's insinuated that, and Brewski sent us this story earlier of a reporter asking him, like, you think you could take that from a foreign entity? And he said, oh, I don't see why not, but I have it.
Yeah, he said that he's allowed to take money from a foreign entity. That was what he said, which is basically Russia. If you're listening,
right?
Remember when he said that, asking for Hillary's emails? That's exactly what that was right there. Because he doesn't want to take any money out of his account. If you're a grifter, you never spend your own bankroll. It's always someone else's bankroll.
Yeah,
and that's what he wants. He wants someone to give him the money. And now he's got these billionaires, including Woody Johnson, Wilbur Ross, Linda McMahon, the Mercers. Most of those people were actually in his cabinet. They're all raising money for his legal fees.
Yeah. Listen, before, I think the $500 million, that was a big ask for your rich friends. But now 175 million, if a couple of them chip in 50 mil, I mean, they got that covered in a heartbeat. So I don't think this is going to have the sting that it did 5 minutes ago.
But let's keep in mind, though, all that is that that's just a bond so that he's able to appeal the really big judgment, the almost $500 million judgment against him. And if he loses that, well, then he loses the 175 plus the difference between the 450 and 454 and the 175.
Okay, that's an important distinction, because I thought that the penalty was just summarily dropped down to 175. You're saying
no.
Just the bond.
Just the bond. So originally,
that's slightly better, but that's still buying him more time than the election has for us. This will be decided well into next year, then, and that's just.
I got another sunny side thing for you, Steve.
Sure.
April 15th. Mark it on your calendar.
Yes, he is going to trial now.
Stormy Daniels' hush money case.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, that case should be getting more attention. That was election interference on his part. He had a damaging story about to drop right before Election Day. He paid it off to go away. That is election interference. This is probably really should be one of the more serious cases as far as public interest goes.
I saw a bunch of Republicans interviewing Stormy Daniels, and they were like, you've been asked a ton of times if this is true, did he pay you? And you were lying. So why do we believe you now? And she was like, I was following my NDA. I couldn't disclose it. I was paid to do that.
Right.
So here I am now. Like, listen to me, dude. I mean, this is not flattering for me in any way. I'm living my life with death threats. People are trying to, harass me. My life is basically over. You think this is fun?
Well, the other thing, too, is that if they tried to say that Michael Cohen is not someone that can be trusted testimony-wise in court, he has all the canceled checks.
I was going to say, there's a paper trail for this. It's
yeah, exactly.
That's right.
So, yeah, I mean, he's going to lose this case. I just hope so many people have written it off to, he paid some porn star. Like, no, he paid a porn star to hide a story that he thought was going to end his chance to win the presidency. That's why he paid her off. That's election interference.
The night he debated Hillary was like a day or two after Grab Him by the Pussy came out. You remember?
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm sure when he got done with that debate and things were still going well for him, he was like, I should have never fucking paid that lady, dude. I wasted that money. America should have known. I screwed a porn star. It would have made him more of a rock star.
Yeah, with his
than he already is.
Yeah, you got to own banging porn stars, I feel. So, but yeah, and he got off cheap, really. Well, I mean that literally and figuratively, actually. But
totally,
he only paid her $125,000 or something. I mean, that's really not.
But here's the thing, though. I think with some people, it would have been considered unsavory, considering the fact that Melania's at home with Barron she just gave birth to, and Donald's at whatever hotel, and he's hooking up with Stormy Daniels
in Lake Tahoe, right here. That's right. Which is why they bribed her to pay her off, and he did it illegally, and he did it to sway an election. That's terrible.
Yes, he used your money once again as he sits and begs for money. It's so funny, dude.
I want to hear the testimony in that trial because I love when Stormy Daniels tells the story about how he's got her bent over and he starts telling her how much she reminds him of his daughter.
Yes, dude. It's so gross.
Yeah.
Dude.
And she's and more than a few times while they were intimate and that sort of thing, he's telling her how much she reminds him of Ivanka. I mean, he lusts after his daughter at all times. You heard him on the Stern Show.
Yeah. He's done it a lot.
Yeah.
I like her talking about his mushroom dick. That's just hilarious. So.
That's great, too. But with the whole Ivanka thing, in all honesty, I'll take your votes. Do you think he's tapped that?
No.
He's jerked to it, for sure. I don't think he's actually done it, though.
Yeah, I would tend to agree.
And I'm sure he's walked in accidentally when she's coming out of the shower.
I was going to say, yes. He probably had some spank bank material from, sorry, Ivanka, didn't know you were in the shower. Sorry.
Jared, let's not stay with my father. Let's get our own place. Yes. Speaking of Trump's kids, I will end this story. Donald Trump Jr. Has been doing some fantastic things out here in the world lately. We all know that, he does financial news for this program. And he talks about home ownership or, the price of a hair curdler. But he is talking about interest rates and what they are doing to our country. And I thought, well, is this guy becoming a caricature of himself? Listen to his voice throughout this. Maybe cocaine's involved.
But it hasn't gone up. It hasn't spiked since then. It's like, no, but the 40-year high, Joe, the 40-year high, that is the spike. You think that, it didn't go to 12, so that's, a great thing, as opposed to virtually in my lifetime, the highest inflation rates ever. People are hurting. They're hurting at the gas pump. They're hurting at the supermarket. They're hurting on their mortgage rates when those go up because they're going to have to adjust interest rates up to combat some of this stuff. People are going to get crushed. It's going to be a bloodbath. And Joe has no idea that it's bad. I mean,
he's using the words bloodbath now.
Yeah, he sounds like some sort of cross between a cartoon character and a Seinfeld impersonation.
Kermit the Frog and Seinfeld, dude.
Yeah, well, that's the deal. Because we talked about the fact that Seinfeld and Trump are doing their own little sitcom together, and I think maybe he's trying to audition to be on the cast.
This is so crazy, dude. People are, this lady was talking about this and saying that people are concerned about Donald Trump Jr. They're starting to become concerned about him. Like, we're not starting to, dude. He's been an idiot for a long time.
No, and Brewski, you're correct, man. I mean, that is a freaking cokehead and who knows what other pills he's popping, talking about that, and stumbling all over his words and sweating on camera. I mean, please.
Completely.
And one of these days, guys, we're going to have to deal with him running for president. Guarantee it. Cue this tape up 10 years from now. Harness is predicting it right now that he will be the next Trump.
If he's alive. Because
Right,
I'm
yeah.
telling you right now, with the amount of coke that guy's doing, he's bound to run into some really bad stuff at some point, and something's going to happen.
Best case, he dies. Worst case, he'll be like his dad and just shit himself constantly, and we'll all have to deal with that again.
Well, I think that's going to do it for another edition. A fine edition, might I add.
As long as fine means fucked up, insecure, neurotic, and emotional. That's what we're here to bring for you.
The Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve Olabruski. You feel like you got the news you needed to know, do you?
I think we cover all the bases. So
Okay.
But yeah, go to the website, thevocalminority.net, and find the social media stuff. And for the love of God, somebody step up out there and call our comment line, 844-48-VOCAL. The one is optional, but dial it if you want to.
Thank you. Brewski, please take us out.
Happy trails to you.
And we say bye-bye.
Test 1 2, test 1 2.
Stop.